This past weekend, the first North American YCS with Random Nightmare took place, and I've gotta say, there are many things that are worth talking about, but one thing really caught my eye. During Game 3 of the finals, Pac, a well-known pro player, went second in the Snake Eye Mirror and activated Lullaby of Obedience, a card that really hasn't had any competitive relevancy since Zodiac format. Of course, Pac has a track record of causing market spikes when it comes to unconventional tech cards, but this one caused a big reaction. During the match itself, there was an active buyout occurring as the price for first dead secret rares jumped from $8 to $15. This trend has been a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Since before I even started playing. Good cards will be bought out, but I'm more worried about how players will rush to throw this card into their decks without even thinking twice about it. This kind of sheep people or follower culture cultivates trends of players who want to perform well, blindly following the precedents set by pro players. But before I go on, I want to preface that net decking and copying isn't really a bad thing, and it's actually something I support, especially if you don't have the time to do proper testing and research or are simply just new to the game. This discussion is targeted more for the players who want to get better and actually be competitive. Let's go a little more into detail. For one, these cards are event specific and aren't as good when people are scouting them. Usually a card like Obedience wouldn't be good going into a diverse format because unless you know you are playing the mirror, the best you can do is maybe summon an opponent's copy of Ash Blossom or any other hand trap from their deck. However, we are in what many would call a tier 0 format where 80% of the top cut for Las Vegas had Snake Eye Ash in the deck list. Pac and his team assumed that every match would most likely be a mirror, so Obedience would be valuable, especially when by the time you get to day 2, you pretty much know what deck each opponent is on. Another reason Lullaby performed well is because it wasn't something that was really scouted. Now, the secret is out and it's on everybody's radar, so players can now prepare for ways to counter it. Anti-Spell usually beats every deck in this format. Now that card is even stronger post-side in the mirror if your opponent keeps Lullaby in for games 2 and 3. Going first, your opponent can side in a copy of their own Lullaby and then chain a set copy of the Crossout when you activate your Lullaby, rendering your card basically useless. Secondly, these off-the-wall techs don't come out of nowhere. I can assure you that Pac's team, throughout testing and theorizing, not only tried out Lullaby but many other cards that might give them an edge for Las Vegas, because even a slight edge can be game-changing in a format where 70% of players are playing one deck. The point that I'm trying to get at is that there's no problem with following trends or playing what other people are playing. We call it a meta for a reason. I simply want to encourage players who want to become more prominent and more proficient in the competitive landscape that in order to not just be good, but to perform well when it matters most, it's important to be proactive instead of only reactive. You too can come to the same conclusions as Pac and his teammates. I personally know people who had thoughts of using Lullaby as a card for the Snake Eye Mirror. If you think a tech card or a strategy might be good, test it with your friends and community, and don't be afraid to disagree with the opinion of your friends or someone you deem is better than you. Form your own opinions. Think twice instead of blindly following well-known players' choices, and don't just look at pictures of a deck list or skip through a deck profile and barely listen to what they're saying. Listen to their reasoning and insight for different choices. You might actually learn something.